We already. Welcome to the March 17th, 2024 regular scheduled city council meeting. Would you all please rise and say the pledge of allegiance together? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amy, so glad you're here tonight. Would you please do roll call?
Becky Curtis.
Here.
Rena Reed Schindler.
Here.
John Breck.
Here.
Karen Hamlet.
Yes.
John Tiger.
Here.
Here.
All right, that takes us to our first public participation. Anybody who would like to talk to the council, please come up and write your name. You have 5 minutes. And I believe the timer is there.
I am Mark Carr. I've lived here for 40 years, or a little bit more than that, actually. I wanted to come tonight. We've talked about a lot of money and expenses, and I wanted to offer up something where we could save $50,000 to $100,000 right here tonight. And I think this is really important. It's very important to me and a lot of people in the community. So in 1858, the railroad first came through Cameron, and that was the Hannibal to St. Joseph Railroad. But by 1879, we had 4 railroads here in town, and we had 4 depots. We had frontages and docks and storage buildings and hotels. All of these things were catering to the railroad. We had dorms and restaurants. It was a big thing. But by the 1920s, automobiles started becoming very popular. So at that time, the ocean-to-ocean highway passed right through the middle of town, crossing all these railroads. And it came from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. So that was one of the very first transcontinental roads. We also have the Jefferson Highway, which came from the south and the north, and that was a precursor to I-35. And that is now 69 Highway. So what has concerned me is in the 1870s, Cameron was branded as the crossroads of the nation. And this was a big thing because it gave us a lot of opportunity. Specifically, it gave us opportunities for economic growth and development. Cameron probably wouldn't even be here if it weren't for all of this activity. And remembering at the time, the only transportation was on horseback or on dirt roads. This gave us increased connectivity, access to other regions and markets, which we didn't have if you just were a small community off the beaten path. It created jobs, lots of different ways. It increased our property value incredibly, and it still does today. Because we have I-35 and 36 highways, our property value is higher than other towns that are not connected as well as we are. It increased our population considerably, and it increased tourism and money from the tourism was coming into town. It also helped us improve our infrastructure with federal and state money that came into this area. So what I'm concerned about is the rebranding of Cameron. Not so much that it's rebranded as an arts community, but I don't think this is an arts community. If we consider Cameron as a transportation hub. As a city, we can sell that to other communities and businesses and other places that give us opportunity. We can make that available by saying, look where we are, look at the map, look at the transportation, look how much traffic goes right through here. This is very important. In the conversation that we had discussing it, there was a lot of discussion about we want to do this, we plan to do this, we're going to do this, we hope to do that, but none of that has been done. Oh, really? I'm rolling, aren't I? So what I'd like specifically for you to consider is this. I'm asking you to put the brakes on the rebranding of the city. I think it's important to allow the arts community to do their own thing and grow and evolve as they want to do it. But don't force the community to give up their history. We don't want to spend public money for the rebranding, which I talked to Steve, and it would cost $50,000 to $100,000 to rebrand this city. And no public money should be spent for private things like this. So I hope you would consider that, put the brakes on it, rescind what you've done, grow from the private group on up. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thanks.
My name is Mickey Lobsterman, 1116 West Prospect. Have a hand in.
Look at you go, girl. Picture.
You guys can come in. I just.
Okay, I only have a couple things. I'm gonna be short because I know you guys have got a lot of balls in the air to juggle. But what I just handed you is something that 5 or 6 households where I live on the street have to look at this 24/7. It's been there since a year and a half. It's grown some, and I think maybe the gentleman who lives there maybe does home remodeling, and I hate to kick somebody for if that's what they do, but I mean, if we've got codes and somebody that enforces them, I just don't know that that looks good, you know.
No, it doesn't look good at all.
And then, so I just didn't want that to go, you know, I didn't know if you all were aware of that. You know, you might not travel that street and know, you know.
I saw it the other day and I thought, well, somebody's remodeling, but I didn't,
No,
hadn't been down.
well,
that
I
road
think
for a
he did,
while.
and there for a while, every evening, he would back in, unload stuff. And there for a while, they were getting a dumpster, having it hauled off, but this has been sitting there since way back in the fall.
Okay.
And he hasn't put anything new on there for a while, but, you know, I just didn't know if maybe there was a better option that could be had. And then the second thing was, and I see Mr. Raines is not here, I don't believe, tonight.
Well,
Lance, okay. Well, and I think this was discussed at the last meeting that I was unable to be here, but I was just wondering if, the old Dean's Photography Building was still on schedule, you know, just kind of was wondering where that was, because I think I'd heard April mention one time, so I was just kind of curious about that. Thank you.
Did you, just real quick, did you call the city, talk to anybody up there about this as well?
I haven't, but I believe somebody has talked to Steve about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and would you
Let's get on this.
make sure she gets her information from
I certainly
the
will.
Conrad Building City?
And I will,
We are aware.
Yeah.
for the council information, code enforcement is on both of these issues.
Okay.
Good to know.
And we have your name and phone number here.
Yep.
I certainly will get back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Did you take this picture?
I didn't know. But it's right across the street from me, so I mean,
All right, anybody else? That means that we move to the consent agenda. Is there anybody that would like to request any of the items moved from the consent agenda to the regular agenda for discussion? Well, now the city clerk will now read, Amy, will read the items on the consent agenda.
Item A, motion to approve the minutes of the March 3rd, 2025 City Hall Advisory Committee work session. Item B, motion to approve the minutes of the March 3rd, 2025 regular session.
I will entertain a motion to pass the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It passes 5 in favor, 0 opposed. That takes us on to our appointment. Amy.
So the community center board has their appointments, I believe, that they came to you at the last meeting. And so this is the meeting where we would actually approve those. And it looks like we have reappointing Dale Akey, Joanne Akey, Marta Baker. Ian Miller's term expired, and they are wanting to appoint Chris Coster in his place.
All right. This is what I, Mayor Becky Curtis, do hereby appoint Dale Akey, Joanne Akey, Mark Baker, and Chris Foster to the community center. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. It passes. They're appointed. 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Now that takes us to our city manager report. Steve.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I just have a couple of items here. One, I had put on the city manager report, which was passed out to you last week, the city hall repair schedule, which of course we already just had. And this is one of those things where I'm working in the future tense and the past tense at the same time. I give it to you so that you have a chance to look at it ahead of time. Although by the time we talk about it now, it'd be in the past tense, which we talked about a few minutes ago. And we have the schedule on that. You're all well aware of that. And we're working towards that March 31 date. The second thing I wanted to tell you, and Lance is not here, so I can't call upon him to do it, but he'll come back to you. He's working on some low interest loans that may be available to the city hall repair. And I mentioned that to let you know that we're leaving no stone unturned in finding all the money we can to do that. We want to keep the cost down. We're going to find all the money that we can. He's working on some of those, and he asked me to mention that to you, but he'll come back to us in more detail as we have it. The third thing I have, which is not on here, is I have asked the mayor to be on vacation the first week in April. And so I will be out at that time. Seems funny, why would I be going on vacation here when I'm retiring soon? But what happens is you have maintenance that has to be done. And as you know, if you don't do the maintenance when it gets done, things begin to fall apart.
Imagine that.
So it's going to take a little time to get some of that done. And then I had a question on the Region D that I wanted to add to it. And that is, Becky and I on the Region D board, they have about $200,000 now worth of money to go out for grants. And I had mentioned this before, and the council had asked for some of the things that were ideas about what they'd done. And so I want to quickly go over several that we got from the Region D. One of the things they had done before is they did a grant for recycling workers. Another thing, they did handheld equipments for the city of Clarksville, which was chainsaws for people working in recycling. Clinko got salaries for recycling workers. And also another city did picnic tables and benches, and they had got 4 of those. There was also another grant for supporting proper household hazardous waste recycling. Another one was money for for recycling waste tires. And then another one, the city of Stewartsville got money for recycling workers and for mileage for that. We have two that have been suggested for us. I think the police department is looking for perhaps some benches, so I will put in for 4 of those recycled benches. And then also, we've been talking in Public Works about the bins that we get for recycling, and we have to charge people for those, but if we can get some of them as a grant and get those, then we don't have to charge people for that. So we'll get those 2 ideas out for grants and see if we can get those. And if anybody else has any ideas for grants that are recycling connected, we can get those forward. And the deadline for getting those in is April 4th, and I'll make sure we get these in and the others that we may have. But money out there to be had.
If they're willing to pay for recycle employees, I say do it. Let's cut the cost of recycling back down to what the folks were promised when we increased it. It went from what, $1 to $3, and everybody was told, oh, this is just going to be short term, and it ended up being a full-time thing. We can get money for that. That's something we should be doing, because people are getting killed with utilities right now.
Let me check and see if we can do that, and we'll see if we can get some at least assistance in that. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Good.
Part of the city manager's report that we need to hear in the future is we passed the rebranding last week and didn't have a discussion on the economic impact, if there was going to actually be a cost to it. So I think you and the staff need to get back to us, and is there going to be a cost to your estimation to rebrand? I'm not against a rebranding of a a particular area, but to rebrand the whole city, is there going to be a direct economic cost that we're going to have to pay?
They were only going to change anything when they ran out of the current whatever, so they still have to buy supplies that they give out, city does. So that's maybe just the initial setup fee for the new one, but they're gonna have to have those products anyway, the publications and all that they have to spend that anyway.
We passed that real fast on a motion. And I didn't hear anything from the city manager, nothing from the staff. We didn't talk about the economics of it. I just want the staff to sign off on it.
I will get you a full rundown on what cost might be then.
Okay.
Okay, and that, Mayor, that's all I have then.
All right, and that gets us to unfinished business, and we don't have any. So we're going to new business. We have a discussion by Trevor Hutt from Mocan Regional Council.
Handouts here to talk about the program I'd like to pitch to you guys today. So we at MoCan do transportation planning for our 4 counties on the Missouri side. Tad and Mike here in attendance are on our transportation advisory committee. We work with MoDOT to help with transportation priorities in the area, try to help make sure that your priorities are represented on their planning. But we also have opportunities to go for federal grants, which is what we went for here. 2 years ago, I got a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant for the city of Gower. We were able to create a safety action plan for them, do data analysis, go to the community, talk to them, find out what their needs were, and put together a safety action plan. And any project identified in that plan is then eligible for future funding through the Safe Streets for All program, which is up to $25 million for implementation of one of those projects. So we went ahead and we reapplied for Andrew County. I don't know if you know, but the Metropolitan Planning Organization takes up a larger portion of Andrew County, Buchanan County. So it actually limited the number of towns we were hoping to reach with that grant. So we did receive $100,000 to do that plan, and now we've changed the scope of that plan to cover the entire remote region. So what I'm doing now is going to each of the communities, asking for buy-in. It's a $100,000 grant that we've received. It's 80-20 split, so we're responsible for $20,000 match on top of that. We've already got Andrew County and Donovan County to sign on. I haven't heard back from Clinton County yet, but I'm going to the communities themselves. If you would like to sign on your own, we would split it all evenly amongst every town that signs on. So right now you're only like 31 to talk to. So I'm still making my rounds around. But the most I can perceive this cost, it would only be $4,000 if you agree to sign on. And like I said, I'm not asking for that signature today. Just wanted to bring it to you and present the option. Two of the projects that we're always looking at here in town, obviously, are the safety improvements at 35 and 36 intersections, everything along all that road. And the BV Bridge, which is already getting a study done currently. This would, if we take that study, put it into the safety action, we could get some federal dollars to actually build that bridge. It's an option. I just wanted to bring it to you. It would be easier if we can talk to Clinton County and get into it, if you guys would like to sign up.
Would you pay for 5 old buildings on Third Street?
Buildings, okay, those are just.
That'd be a safety issue.
Well, it might be. So we could do.
Tell on the
sidewalks.
motors.
Yeah, we've been working on other avenues on trying to fix those buildings.
Good anywhere?
We're
I'm
working on it.
thinking potholes, like around town.
There's a lot of.
Fix some roads.
If you look at our Gower plan, it is on our website. They were more focused on the school being off the highway. They did crosswalks. We did an evaluation of their sidewalk system, saw if there was a way to try to reroute safer routes to schools. We also looked at intersections that were dangerous in town, so we identified a lot of different options for them. So we'll put any and all things that you guys want into this plan and try to get you some.
We need about $400,000, they tell me, for those 5 buildings.
Yeah, that's fine.
Could you work on that?
We have.
Okay.
Any other questions?
This is something we don't have to.
Yeah. Feel free to discuss. We are having a meeting next Monday at 1 o'clock at Mocan. If you want to come, we'll go over the same kind of information with you there.
Okay.
You said Monday, 1?
Monday, 1 o'clock. Okay. 20.
We're going to actually zoom in here, if you guys are interested.
Thank you.
That takes us to our first reading on Bill 2025-9.
First reading Bill 2025 ordinance authorizing the city of Cameron accounting staff to write off uncollectible utility accounts for the city of Cameron, Missouri.
I will entertain a motion to pass Bill 2025-9.
Second.
Discussion?
So
Okay.
this is a housekeeping issue. We do this every year. The way that we're able to kind of help keep these numbers down and collect them still after we've done this is we collect anybody who comes back to town who's written off their bill. We collect that as an additional deposit. So we're able to get that money back even if we write it off. It's not a fun process, but you collect some of that back even after it's been written off.
And does that happen? I think it does.
Yeah, we just have, if it does happen more frequently than doing things.
The other thing, and I'd say the last time that I was up here on council, but I still wonder why we're not selling this debt to bill collectors. I mean, it's not much, and I get that, but I know they're out there. The last time there was a company up in Minnesota that actually did debt write-off collections for cities. And so even if we get half of the money or a quarter of the money, you know, we would still get more than what we're doing now, because now we're just writing it off, we're getting zero, unless someone comes back into town, like you said.
We did use collection agencies to try and collect some of it. And it kind of ended up being cost prohibitive by the time that we did collect some back and had to pay them to them when we did get it. But that was also when we were still doing taxes, so it made a little more sense
Oh,
for us
gotcha.
to do both. And now we just have utilities. So it actually costs quite a bit to involve a collection agency. So we've kind of just gotten away from that because it ended up costing more. And if they collect it after so many years of them being on the books, we don't even get any of that money back. They get it involved.
Right, right.
So it's kind of a, yeah, it's just.
I guess I just look at it like, okay, well, the last 5 years, we've got over 125,000, 150,000 approximately. In that time frame, even if they set it up to where we get 10%, we're still getting something versus the zero. And especially since these are over 2 years already, I would think that it'd be pretty rare that any of these folks would turn around and pay unless they do come back. So I just want to throw that out.
Can I ask, do you all look at, when people die, you know, what I mean? Because there was 2 people in here that have passed away.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we write those off with them.
Yeah, but you could, you could send a bill to, you know, the estate would have to pay it.
9 times out of 10, we're not going to get that money.
Really?
It's unfortunate, but the utility bills are one of the last things that they
Okay.
consider.
Okay.
In an estate.
Okay.
But yeah, we usually go through this and exhaust any possibility of assigning it to a different account that's here that they may be associated with.
Okay.
Last question. Do we put this on the website?
But
The names?
I don't know if Shelley listed that attachment or not. I didn't see just the second time.
I'm just thinking we should probably put these names out there.
It may have been on the packet that she put on the website. I didn't want to see if it was.
I'm just thinking maybe people would be shamed into paying. They don't
Always
pay.
do.
I think it was 80, because that's where I know.
Okay, yeah.
Check the list, make sure I'm not dead.
Or you're not on there.
You're not on it.
Good.
All right.
You know, we have to check.
I did. I looked at
I
everybody.
didn't look.
You didn't look who's on there? Oh, gosh.
I was asking who's on it.
Any other questions? All those in favor of passing Bill 2025-9, that's just first reading, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passes 5 in favor here, please. Next, that takes us to Resolution 2025-16.
Resolution 2025-16, resolution of the City Council of the City of Cameron, Missouri, designating city officials who are authorized to have signature authority for city bank accounts at BTC Bank, Farmer State Bank, Bank Midwest, and Bank North.
I will entertain a motion to pass Resolution 2025-16.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Okay, this is also a little bit of housekeeping. We want to make sure that we have people on signature cards with the bank. And we had before Shelley and I and Zach, with Zach gone and me being gone soon. What will happen is we want to put additional names on here so we can work at the bank. So what we wanted to do is add Lance Raines and Amy McVicker on that. We have additional signature cards for the bank if we needed them. We recommend we do that.
I think that's all we're going. Any other questions? Well,
This also includes anytime we have checks that we sign or the payroll, we have some signatures for payroll. So that way it helps us to make sure that we have enough people in house.
yeah, it does. It does. All right. All those in favor of passing Resolution 2025-16, say aye.
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 All opposed? It passes, 5 in favor, 0 opposed. That takes us to our second public participation. Anybody else want to come up and share their thoughts?
And this is what I was going to talk about to begin with, but since Dr. Carr spoke about Brandy, I will go ahead and talk about that too. And I appreciate Dr. Carr and respect him for his opinions, and I do think everybody's opinion should be talked about. First off, yes, if we did a big branding thing, it could cost a lot of money right off the bat. But there's more than one way to go about something. We financially cannot do the cost that it would do if we got to do a big launch. It just exactly wouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen that way. Now we're what state of affairs with our city. So that's off the table for me. And in that pamphlet I gave you, I said branding doesn't start with money. It starts with vision, consistency, and community engagement. And then I also listed in there strategic, no cost, low cost efforts. So those are the places that we would start because we cannot afford to spend any money on it. I appreciate the 160 years of the creative crossroads, of the crossroads of the nations. Totally appreciate that. That's one of the reasons why I didn't change the whole tagline, why I just added to it. Because over 160 years, we don't use railroads like we used to. We don't use the things that we have changed in 160 years. They couldn't even have thought of computers back then. So it's just a refresh of the tradition that we have of the creative, the crossroads. One of the things you brought up was the zero haven we're not a haven for creativity like Hamilton and Branson. I could argue that Hamilton wasn't a creative haven until it was. And so they decided, the family decided they were going to do something. They did it on their own. The town was small enough that it could be an effective strategy for doing that. Let's see, less attractive to businesses for transportation. I don't know. There's 20 towns that I know of in Missouri that are creative districts. I talked to the Missouri Arts Council, and I'm going to a meeting next month about emerging creative districts and established creative districts. And there's 20 of them. And so I don't know, I think transportation would enhance that. That would be one of our advantages to not do it in concert with it. The research, there is a creative crossroads of America in the nations, the city. And I researched that out, and they did use the creative crossroads at one point, and then they've done away with the creative part, and they're now mostly saying crossroads for their arts district. They've also called it American crossroads. And so that just goes to the idea that when you have something like this, you have to have a unified voice to continue the same phrases, the same vision, the same tagline. That's why it's important for it to be a tagline. And so it doesn't, I looked for it, we could ask a lawyer to see if it conflicts, but from what I can see, it doesn't. Let's see. Put on the brakes for rebranding. I've had several people come up to me and tell me, we shouldn't do it now, we should wait, we should wait, we should wait. And that's been the same voice that has been speaking for 17 years since the first comprehensive plan came out in 2008, revised in 2015. The voice is always wait. So my question then is, how much longer do you wait? You've already waited 17 years. This may not be a perfect plan, but it is a plan. It is also started grassroots. There are plenty of people behind it that I've been working on it for a year. So why tie it to the city? Because the fact of the matter is we can only do so many grants as a personal person. We can't do city grants. We can't unless we have a city who's going to step forward and say, yeah, we agree with it. Yeah, we're on board. And the grants is a money game. It's a number game. You have to put in numerous.
1 minute remaining.
What?
1 minute remaining.
Okay, good. I'm way ahead of what I thought. So this should be private interest. I don't think it's fair to put the onus on one small group of people to try to lift the whole town. And other creative people have tried things only to lose their business because there's no support. Having the voice of the city council says, we are behind these people. We will help them. We will do it. And one of our town things that is very difficult is unity. It's like, you do your thing here, you do your thing here. This has to be a unified voice. We are never going to get anywhere unless we are united. And I see divisiveness in our town all over. So that's why I could have done this on my own. I was doing it on my own, but I'm like, I want to have this with you. I want to be able to do this with you. I want to have other voices as well, so that we can hammer out those details. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? That begins our miscellaneous comments from staff. Steve.
They have nothing else, Mayor, thank you.
Nothing.
Well, now, wait a minute. So what's it looking like for our street now that we're moving into spring? What's the plan? I see that you've done some pothole.
We gotta get the temperature, ground temperature up, where we can start pouring concrete, but that's, if it stays like this, it'll come soon. So,
Yeah, so there was one on Lana Drive that last night. I'm like, oh my God, my car's not gonna go halfway in it. And it was all filled, so I'm like, oh, they're out in town doing that. Well, good, thanks.
Well, and street sweepers.
yeah, room street sweeper. As long as the weather stays like it is, we'll keep running it.
Okay,
Get everything done.
How about an update on Harris Street?
Harris Street, we will be having a bid opening on it the 31st.
so do you all come here and do it? We did that with the Great Northwest. That was really fun. I never done that before. Okay.
For me.
The only thing that's, I have to comment on, we as a community, this section, Northwest Missouri, have been very lucky this past weekend, few days, for the rest of the parts of the state that had the weather issues, and you just need to stay weather wise and pay attention to what's going on around it, so we will. Think about all those people that don't have their. Yeah, that's all.
Carmen kind of took my phone down, but, yeah, Carmen is very, very right about that. As we all know, in the state of Missouri and other states in the United States, it was devastating Friday. From decibel days, accidents, out, especially on I-70, where there was several deaths and a lot of injuries, to across Oklahoma and Kansas and the state of Missouri for fires, and then the turnaround and for the tornadoes that actually hit. I can tell you, I was in Branson and we missed it, but that storm, I saw it brewing, and it was bad. So there's a lot of people, a lot of injuries, a lot of death, a lot of destruction. I actually am an assistant for fire mutual aid in Region H. I have 4 counties. In those 4 counties, the state is doing an assessment to see if they can apply for federal disaster. In our region, Region H, we were lucky. We didn't have a whole lot of grass fires, and as you all know, we had a little bit of rain, quite a bit of wind, and a snowstorm. So all on the same day. But we lucked out here in Northwest Missouri from everybody. I just got a report just a while ago, and in the state, in Region H, we are not even going to send any numbers in. We've already accumulated all the numbers, but it's not enough to even apply for the money for state disaster. So here again, we actually had our the firemen here. They had 4 calls that day, All of them come within about a 2.5 hour period. From grass fires to, and in the middle of that or at the end of it was a natural gas leak in one of the businesses here in town. So, you know, I have to praise our department here. Had enough staff to cover all that. South of town, north of town, in town, there was enough staff to be able to take care of that. Everything turned out well. Everybody came back. Everybody was safe. Another thing that you have to be aware of, that storm season is coming. To let you know, between this department, fire department, and EMS, we are on staff, real heavily staffed during those times of disaster. And now that we are now dispatching for Caldwell County, we're actually watching that too. So fire department, we have pretty sophisticated radars, as well as the PD, and we're able to set and watch for us to be safe here, as safe as can be, and we're actually looking out for the individuals in Caldwell County. So it's coming. We just lucked out this time, but you never know what can happen. So we're now in a burn ban. We did that on Friday. And that follows into the rural area, the Cameron Fire Protection District. Our contract actually reads that. When the city goes into the burn ban, so does into the Cameron Fire Protection District. Our patrons have been very good. They've watched out it. What we had is just been kind of an accident. But still, it happens. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on with us. The guys have been working as hard as they can and to make everybody here in our community as safe as possible.
Thank you, Chief. The next thing, nothing. All right.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay,
I want to support the arts district in any kind of things that we can do, and I appreciate that Shannon's talking about not using a lot of money at first, but I think we need to go forward with it. They had talked about it, she said, what, 17 years ago? 2008, and in that time, I have not seen anything else presented that would be superior to that. And so,
Put a mural on the wall.
yeah, that would be an artistic thing. So I haven't seen anything. I mean, I haven't seen us become the basketball center of the state, or we haven't tried for the log rolling center of the state, or so I think that the arts center of at least this area is an extremely smart idea, and that we can do it with the best of our abilities.
I don't have an issue with the arts district. I don't have volunteers, God bless them, putting up their art and that kind of stuff in a specific geographic area. But when you want to rebrand the entire town, we need to fund it. My opinion, slow down a little bit and take a look at it.
I know the chamber was asking a couple years ago that they were wanting a rebranding.
Well, you know, we planning and zoning, we rebranded we changed the law to have sell alcohol outside,
In the park.
yeah, in the park or outside businesses. I have no issue with that. Are we seeing that yet? We passed that. You know, to have a wine tasting thing for retailers to serve alcohol outside the business. I'm not anti-art and I'm not anti-people doing things, but rebranding the entire town, I think we maybe need to really slow down and take a look at that. I have an issue with the district. In my opinion, two different issues. I've got a few.
That's normal. One, Carmen, can you do me a favor? On these payments over 15,000, some of the descriptions I get, and some of them I can't figure out. And maybe it's because it was something that was done back in 2000 or something, that I'm just unaware of. But, 2000, that'll be a long time ago. How about 2020? But anyway, if there's a way we can get just something, just so I can kind of figure it out. I went in and even tried to look at past budgets and stuff. I was not doing a very good job of finding most of it, so thank you for that. I want one of the things, I know we had to like pull it out of you, what your department had done. And a couple of meetings ago, I had asked everybody to come back and tell us, be proud of your department. Let us know what's going on. It didn't have to be what's going to happen in the future. Kind of let us know what your folks and stuff, or anybody, you're helping me with Zoom every week. So, I mean, little things like that. Let's let people know what you're doing. Because if not, then everybody goes, what's he doing? And so for anybody, I would love to hear more. Let's get it out there so we get that positive image of you're doing things. Utilities. The $5 thing, it didn't come out to $5, guys. I'm getting nailed for this one. And we're looking at $20 to $25 per month as the increase, not $5. But I'm just saying, we need to seriously reconsider, look at that again or something, because that was a shock to a lot of people. And again, it didn't matter if it was 2 people, 3 people, or more. It seemed like it was at least $20 to $25 increase per month. So that's something we need to
Well,
look
I knew
at.
the first time we got an increase, because we put off doing that for so many years, because we knew it was coming, is that from my understanding, the biggest percentage increase was going to be with this time.
But we were also told it's gonna be $5 per month. It's gonna be a $5 a month.
We were told it was
Increase.
gonna be 10. I remember 10.
When
that's
was
what mine
when
was
was it $5? I remember $10
I remember
to
10.
pass the minimal
That was the first time, right?
gallon usage
I think I went
with the basic to fund the USDA loan for 35 years for $44 million. It's gonna be $18, another $18 a month, which we decided either we're gonna do 10 or we're gonna do 8. I can't remember which we did. We did 18 or 20 right now. So that's where we got the 20. That's what I remember.
Everybody got at least.
Yeah, about a $20
Depending
increase.
on their using.
I'll go back and find it, but I was pretty sure.
I don't remember $5.
I think it was the second, or maybe it was just something, maybe that was one of the ones when I requested. Maybe I just saw a different,
We had a 10, I think we had a $10 minimum, didn't it go to 20 or something like
We
that?
have to look.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it was, I remember $10.
Cost of service increased $5,
Okay,
but we changed the structure to where instead of getting the 1,500 gallons included in that, you pay for that, all of the usage instead of getting 1,500 gallons from that. That's where we're paying $10.75 per 1,000 gallons.
we can blame it on Mark.
so there was.
Yeah, I would blame it on him, yeah, right, there was.
Don't forget, you're being forgiven.
Yeah,
down there.
okay.
So anyway, I just think we need to look at it, because I don't know about anybody else, but I'm hearing it.
Yeah, maybe what we can do is put it out in another way that would be, more easily understood. What Mark says is that essentially cost of service is up $5, but now you pay 1 cent for every gallon. The advantage to that is if you use less water, you don't have to pay for it. The disadvantage is, you don't get 1,500 gallons for free. You have to pay a penny for every gallon. And that's
Yeah,
why-
mine went up $20.
That's what I'm hearing, 20 to 25 bucks.
Yep, that's where it was.
Does that make sense for what we were saying?
Yeah, and the 1,500 gallons for free is kind of a misnomer.
I was gonna say, it wasn't free.
You were paying $20 per 1,000 gallons for that 1,500 gallons, so the person that didn't use over 1,000 gallons was actually paying more than the person that used 10,000 gallons. Because that rate got lower, the more water you use.
Mark, we're gonna blame it on you.
Now, the city saw an increase in chemicals as early as last month, didn't they?
There's some dramatic increases during COVID.
That's been
Ever
5
since.
years ago.
Well, but we're still
So we
paying
can-
for two different
Yeah, oh, I know.
ways to get the water too, so.
Well, my point being, the city already had increased costs, but we didn't increase, did we increase 5 years ago or not?
We increased last year.
Last year?
it didn't go up.
Yeah, well,
They increased the minimum $5.
The other question that I had is to you, Steve. What positions do we now have out there that are open? How many different positions are we looking for right now?
Well, I can give you what I know now. We had a couple of recent resignations, but Amy can help correct me, but we are looking for the permanent utilities director.
Right.
We have the building inspector.
Mm-hmm.
We have recently got a resignation from our code enforcement officer.
Yep.
And we have our foreman in the street department. Amy, what have I left out there?
Water distribution, crew member,
Yeah,
city manager.
and pool manager,
you don't have a vacancy in the city manager position.
Not quite yet.
Yeah.
Not quite yet. Okay.
well, and pool manager and pool lifeguards. Is that right?
I'm getting quite a few left.
Yeah, that I really wasn't as worried with the temp type workers, but I was
Still
just,
have to hire 'em.
Let me,
yeah, oh no, I agree. We still have to hire them. I just was kind of more looking
So there's,
for full
so
time.
there's opportunity
There's a lot-
for employment.
There's a lot of opportunities, so, okay.
I will get that in writing,
Need to
get that to everybody, so you can look at it and check it off. We haven't let anybody off or added anything.
Okay, thank you. And then one final thing, and I promise I'll be done there. I just wanted to state that having seen the final judgment with the park board, the judge's decision, I'm just gonna say, we really did try, as a council, I tried myself to give them an out a couple of meetings ago. And so it's a sad state that we had to go through that. Got friends on that park board, and there's gonna be some tough things coming down. And I just want to remind folks where that started and that it never needed to happen. That's it for me.
What a nice note to end on.
Yeah, I probably should have picked something
It's
else.
like your children are fighting and so it's
I
like.
should have probably picked something else positive that.
It's sad day.
Yes, the staff is continuing to do more with less, so we're.
Yes, I appreciate that.
I thank everyone for coming. I don't really have anything. I know that, we've got a lot of things going on in the spring with the schools and athletes and stuff, so, and we had a really nice meeting with our, I call them the Avengers. What is
Advisory.
advisor?
Avengers?
They got quoted that, they were told that in the newspaper, so. So they have been continuing to help us and, I thought tonight's meeting was extraordinarily good because I think the, engineering team and them got on the same page. And so we'll be moving forward. We'll start doing some demo, hopefully somewhere around April. I think that's when the bids will be in. So good nights are coming with our city hall. It may take a while, but we're getting there. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for coming and see you next time. I will entertain a motion to exit our
Enter executive session.
enter executive session on roll call.
Somebody.
Tina Reed Whitworth.
Yes.
Albrecht.
Yes.
Karen Gillan. Yes. Don Tiger.
Yep.
Peggy Gordon.
Yes, please.
Yes.